Hi Bobcats, this is Miss Lee, and today's video lesson is on multiplying and dividing integers, the rule. We're going to be using the rule to multiply and divide integers. Make sure as we go through the lesson that you're taking good notes. Okay, let's get started. Okay, this is the rule when multiplying or dividing two integers. If the integers have the same sign, your product or quotient will be positive. So what this means is that if you are multiplying 5 times a positive 5, your answer is going to be positive 25. It will be positive. Sorry. But if you're multiplying a negative 5 times a negative 5, multiplying two negatives together, then your answer will also be positive. So if the signs are the same and you're multiplying or dividing, it works for division as well, your answer is going to be positive. However, if the integers have different signs, then your product or quotient will be negative. So if you have 10 divided by a negative 2, then your answer is going to be a negative. You have a positive divided by a negative, your answer will be negative 5. If you have 2 times a negative 3, you're multiplying a positive times a negative, the signs are different, then your answer will be negative as well. Okay, so those are the rules. Only for multiplying and dividing. If the signs are the same, your answer is positive. If the signs are different, then your answer is negative. Okay, so let's go through these. We're just concerned about the sign of the answer, not really concerned about the numeric value. Let's just look at the signs. If we have a positive times a negative, different signs, so our answer is going to be negative. If we have a positive times a negative, again, different signs, your answer is negative. If you have a negative times a negative, they have the same sign, so your answer is positive. So go ahead and pause the video, do the next 3 on your own, and then come back and check to see if you are correct. Okay, B was a negative divided by a negative. That is a positive answer. D is a positive divided by a positive. Same signs, so that will also be a positive answer. And F was a positive divided by a negative. They have different signs, so your answer is negative. So there are some tricks that you can use to help you remember if your answer is going to be a positive or a negative. And I'm going to start off by using this tic-tac-toe chart first. What you do here is one of the diagonals, you write positive symbols. It doesn't matter which diagonal you use. All of the other spots you put negative symbols. And the way this works is if I have a positive number times a negative number, my answer is going to equal a negative. Okay, so you look at the 3 in a row. If I have, let me change the color here. If I have a negative times a positive, that's going to give me a negative answer. If I have a positive times a positive, that gives me a positive answer. So you just follow the 3 in a row with the 2 signs that you know, and the third one will give you the sign of your answer. The other trick you can use is you can use a triangle where the top angle is a positive sign and the 2 bottom angles are negatives. And it pretty much follows the same thing we did here. You're just going to follow the 2 angles for the signs that you know. If I know I have a positive times a negative, then I'll start with a positive and I'll go to the negative, and then the third angle gives me the sign of my answer, and it would be a negative. And then the third trick, which is the trick I like to use and the one that I will be using, is the 3 faces. And the way we look at this is we look at the eyes. And for the first emoji face, both of the eyes are positive, they're the same. So this guy, he's wide awake, he's happy because he just aced his math test. So he's in a good mood, he is positive. Okay, this guy right here, his eyes are closed. Both of his eyes are closed, he's sleeping, he's dreaming, he's having a good dream, so he is positive as well. But the last guy over here, one eye is open, but the other eye is swollen shut because he got into a fight. So he is not in a good mood, he's negative. So if my eyes are the same, then my answer is positive. If my eyes are different, then my answer is going to be negative. So if we go back and look at the practice that we just did, I'm going to draw my faces. It's really simple to do. I have a positive times a negative. So there are the i's. The i's are different. He's negative. Okay. For this one, it's going to be a negative times a negative. So both of the i's are negatives. His eyes are closed. Both are closed. He's dreaming. So he's having a good dream. He's going to be positive. So it's pretty easy to use like that. Okay, let's go ahead and start solving some word problems. And before we do, there are 4 steps that we want to use when we're solving these integer word problems. And the first step is we want to look for the clue words to identify if the numbers are positive or negative. Okay, this is new for 6th grade. We didn't have to do this back in 5th grade. We have to do it now. You have to look for those words that tell you, oh, this is a positive number or this is a negative number. Then once you've identified those, then you go back and you identify the operations. And that's what you're used to having to do, is to identify, is this multiplication or is this a division problem? And step 3 is you would write an expression. You're going to write a numerical expression with your 2 integers and the operation. And then the 4th step would be to solve. Okay, so here we go. A dolphin dives from the surface of the water at a rate of 3 feet per second. Where will the dolphin be in relation to the surface after 5 seconds? Okay, let's talk about our numbers. First of all, we have that the dolphin dives at a rate of 3 feet per second. Okay, what is this 3 feet? Is that a positive or is it a negative? Well, he's diving underwater, right? So that would be a negative 3. And then the time, the 5 seconds, would be a positive 5, wouldn't it? And then is this a multiplication or a division? Well, it says 3 feet per second. That per means to multiply, doesn't it? So our expression is going to be a negative 3 times a positive 5 times, I'm going to use the dot this time to represent the multiplication, times 5. And remember, you don't need to put a positive symbol. If it's a positive number, you just put 5. Okay, I know 3 times 5 is 15, but let's look at our sign. I have a negative times a positive, so my eyes are different. Means he got into a fight, right? He's going to be negative. So the answer would be negative 15 feet. Okay, the next problem. Over 5 years, the number of registered beagles declined by 4,525. The decline in numbers was the same each year. How much was the decline per year? Okay, so first of all, we're talking about 5 years. That is a positive 5. Decline means negative. So this 4,525 is negative. Okay, are we multiplying or are we dividing? Well, it says it was the same each year. So that means that, and we want to know how much per year. So that means we're not multiplying. We want to know how much for each of the 5 years. So we are dividing it. So the expression would be negative 4,525, and we're dividing that by 5. Then you just do the math. And when you divide it by 5, you get 905. And then I'm going to use my little trick, a negative divided by a positive. The eyes are different, so my answer is going to be negative. So it was a negative 905 per year. Negative 905 beagles per year. Okay, go ahead, pause the video, solve this one on your own, identify the clue words that tell you if the numbers are positive or negative, identify the operation, write your expression, solve. Once you have your answer, come back and check to see if you are correct. Okay, our expression would be negative 20 times 2. And yes, you could write it as 2 times negative 20, that's fine. And a negative times a positive, the eyes are different, the answer is going to be negative, negative $40. How'd you do? All right, we have one more example. Go ahead, pause the video, solve this one, come back and check your answer. Okay, I actually want to go back before we've solved this one, go back and look at the previous problem, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows what overdrawn means. Overdrawn means that you don't have the money in your account and your account goes negative. So you owe the bank that much money. Okay, so that means the $20 was negative for each day because it was overdrawn. That's why it was a negative 20. I'm sorry I didn't go over that before. Okay, going back to our last problem. Amanda and her sister are splitting the cost of dinner. That means it's going to be division. And the cost is $36. They're not getting $36. They have to pay $36. So it is a negative $36. So they're sharing it evenly, divide it by 2. A negative divided by positive is going to be negative $18. Each sister's bank account will decrease by $18 because they have to pay that amount. All right, guys, nice job.